So, something that I want to talk about, and I will talk about fairly frequently on the channel, is mental health. Um, I personally have struggled with depression and anxiety for a huge chunk of my life. I'm very lucky in the sense that I have learned how to cope with those things now, um, but for over a decade it was very difficult. I had suicidal thoughts almost daily. I felt really overwhelmed and really trapped, and it took years, many years for me to get to a place where I felt like me again, and I started to live my own life. And it's been crazy. I would say things have really changed for me in the past 3 years. In the past 3 years, I've changed so much and gotten to such a good place. So, to anybody who is struggling with anything, there is so much hope, and you can definitely supersede it. And a big thing that helped me was just talking about it. I finally got a therapist when I was in my early 20s. Lovely people. It was a couple, and I owe them everything, because without them, I wouldn't be where I am. My little earth angels. And I think a lot of people who struggle with it, especially when I was growing up, I grew up in the 90s, I'm dating myself, but we had a lot of, after school special episodes and things like that, but very few things talked about mental health. And if they did, it was like, very eccentric. Nobody really captured the daily struggles of somebody who has anxiety or depression. It wasn't very normalized, so it wasn't something that I wanted to talk about. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to or couldn't cope with the fact that things were different, that I had something, the wiring in my brain was off. It's very hard. And one thing I want to encourage is just, if you are struggling with anything, postpartum, addiction, just any battle, any depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, talk to somebody. Talk to anybody. I used to be so quiet and so shy, and I'm a chatty Cathy. Like, I'm a whole ham. I'm a honey baked ham. Like, I am on display, and I want to talk to everybody, and I want to know people's, life stories. There was always that joke about me, because in college, I'm in college right now actually, but the last semester, like, people would ask me, like, oh, they seem like such a nice person, and I'd be like, oh yeah, they work here, and they have this many siblings, and they're this type of person. They're like, how do you know everyone's life story? Well, I like talking to people, and I'm pretty much right out of the gates. I struggle with depression and anxiety because there's so many of us, and we need to talk about it and support each other and band together so we can beat it, because mental illness, addiction, whatever it may be, it's stupid, they suck, and they're full of shit. So let's do better, and let's start having more and more conversations.